Hi dear students, now we are going to see about blockchain technology. I'm S. Selvarani, Assistant Professor in the Department of MCA, Patama College, Madras. Blockchain is one of the latest trends in the field of computer science and IT. Now we are going to see what is a blockchain. Yes, it is a chain of integrated network. On its exclusive trust-based mechanism, it has developed in a significant way, following the depth of integration of vertical industry and technology. The implications to discover it comes under new sharing model of economic, developing digital economy for business, engineering and ecology. And it also transforms the value of public service and governance models. It can also act as integration of the following innovations. Yes, it is a combination of peer-to-peer network, cryptography, smart contract and consensus mechanism. Yes, these four categories can integrate and it can called as blockchain. It is also called as a digital database or a ledger that is distributed among the nodes of peer-to-peer network. It is a distributed database or ledger that is shared across a computer network's nodes. They are also best known for its crucial role in the cryptocurrency systems, which maintains a secure and decentralized record of transactions. They are not limited to cryptocurrency users. It also can be used in any industry because the data what we are storing in blockchain is immutable. Yes, it cannot be altered. Let us have a look at the work process of blockchain technology. The blockchain is a decentralized ledger of all transactions across peer-to-peer network. Using this technology, the participants can confirm the transactions and also it cannot be altered. That is the main important use of this blockchain technology. Let us see this diagram of how it works. When someone is requesting for a transaction, automatically the requested transaction is broadcasted to a peer-to-peer network which is consisting of a computer which is called as nodes. Yes, it is interconnection of computer nodes. Then it will be validated before the transaction is being done. After then, it can create a new block for the data or the ledger. So, first the request is done, then that is sent to a certain network of computers called nodes, and then it will validate whether the transaction is true or not with the help of some trusted algorithms. After verification, it creates a new block that is called as the ledger. Finally, the new block is then added to the existing blockchain in a way that is permanent and unalterable. Finally, the transaction gets completed. This is the work process of blockchain technology. Hope you all understand, right? So, request is done. It is passed to interconnection of networks called as nodes. Before creating it as a new block, the validation process is done and then the new data is stored as a new block in the existing blockchain and the transaction gets completed. Now we'll enter into public, private and hybrid blockchains. Yes, we are going to see about four types of blockchain technologies. The first thing is public blockchain, which is called as open ledger. Open ledger is anyone can use that particular ledger. So anyone is allowed to join and participate in the consensus. It is fully decentralized, very secure and immutable ledge system. The transactions are anonymous, but it is transparent to each and every participant who are using this public blockchain. So the characteristics are no single owner. That is, every node will be having read and write access to the ledger. Anyone can download and add nodes to the system, and it is also visible to everyone. The consensus process is open to all the party, which is fully decentralized. It also has anonymity. It refers to the same state of having one's identity hidden and not visible to others. So all can see the transactions, but they cannot identify who has done that particular transaction. This is public blockchain. Next, we'll move on to the second type, that is your private blockchain. Private blockchain is called as a closed ledger under a closed network. So it is limited to a single organization. A single organization will be having only access to that particular network. Since a single user is doing that, a single organization is doing that, it is very fast, far efficient, and it also gives more security. The data handling process is also simplified because it is not open to everyone. So this is private blockchain. The characteristics are here permission blockchains are allowed and it uses privileges to govern. Read from and write operations in the blockchain is limited to that particular network alone. Generally, consensus and mining mechanisms are not required as centralized. Single node can have the rights and controls to the block creation. So, since we are using it only for a particular organization, there is not public access given, and so single node can have the rights and controls to block creation. Next, we are entering into what is public and what is private. As we have already seen, public is open to all. So everyone will be having the access and everyone can take part in the consensus. But in case of private blockchain, only one organization will be having the access and it cannot be used by all. So these are all some differences that is easy to identify what is public and what is private blockchain. Under access, authority, the speed, consensus, transaction cost, data handling, immutability, and efficiency. Next, we are going to see about hybrid. So, as we all know, hybrid is a combination of existing details. So, here, hybrid is a combination of private as well as public blockchain. So, it can be used under a closed network and it can also act as a public module which is restricted to the public. That is hybrid blockchain. So, here, authoritative access is given and only certain elements are private. Not all the elements, only certain elements which we need to keep secure can be considered as private elements. And it has flexible control over what data is kept public and what data is kept private. It is decentralized, regulated, and highly scalable. So these are all the characteristics of hybrid. This hybrid blockchain is also termed as consortium blockchain, which have public characteristics but limited to privileged cluster. That is, public access will be given to a particular cluster or particular group, which is called as privileged nodes. And agreements are there because it is having public access, but the rights are restricted. In that case, all the parties should abide to the guidelines and the instructions that has been given. And replicas of blockchain are shared among the permitted member nodes, and the network is partially decentralized. The final type is federated blockchain, which can work with multiple organizations under closed network. So this is federated blockchain, which is very important and which is being used nowadays. Multiple organizations influences the blockchain network. It is decentralized, extremely fast, and very much scalable. The network regulations it preserves the security and privacy information. So let us now have a summary of all the types of blockchains what we have seen. So, whenever you are considering a general database which is not a blockchain, automatically it is permission, it is centralized, which will be having only client server architecture. Persistence is very less. There is very much failure and extremely it can act fast. Okay, but when we are considering public blockchain and hybrid or federated blockchain, automatically it gives positive responses than the database. So it is permissioned, hybrid with few features that are centralized, closed peer-to-peer architecture, mutable, no chance of failure, and slow to medium. When we are working with public blockchain, it is public, open to all, decentralized, public peer-to-peer architecture is allowed, immutable, no failure is there, and also the performance is slow, but security is very, very high. Thank you for listening.